Welcome back everybody to part 2 of the FireBlade Revival series. In the last episode we cleaned up the wiring harness, got the bike to crank, and put on some fairings. We were unsuccessful at getting the bike to start though. The goal for this episode is to get the bike to start, but first we need to sort out if we're getting spark or not. So off comes the gas tank and the airbox again, and now we are down to the head of the engine, where we can remove the coil and check for spark. And I'm going to take another look inside the plug hole. See how that looks. A little crusty. Look at those plugs. They look kind of rusty. Removing the spark plugs were a bit more of a challenge than I anticipated. It involved an extension and a swivel adapter, and it was very difficult to film because of the angle and the tight space. I eventually was able to wrestle the plug out though, and this is what I found. There we go. Wow, look at that plug. That needs to be changed. The burn on it's not too bad though. These probably are original actually. My glove ripped. Denso. These are Denso. These are not original. Not only that, but these are NGKs, I believe what they used. I might be wrong. So to check for spark, all we do is we put the plug in here, and where's the wire? Here it is. Plug that back in, and we ground this out. Right there seems like a decent spot. Pay attention carefully to right here and see if it does anything. I got nothing. That might just be a bad ground, maybe. After testing several grounds, I've come to the realization that the bike has no spark. And off camera, I also tested a different cylinder with a different plug and got the same result. Anyway, with the plugs out, I decided to run a compression test because it is the perfect opportunity to. The way my compression tester works is by threading it into the spark plug hole, then cranking the bike and it will give a reading. In the first test I got about 140 psi, which is kinda low, but to be fair to this engine, I wasn't holding the throttle wide open. After attempting to hold the throttle wide open, I was getting a reading of about 150, but the weak battery wasn't cranking the bike hard enough I think, and that might be why it was a little bit lower. OEM specifications call for at least 178 psi, so my compression is slightly low. This could be because of a number of things, but one thing is for certain, 150 psi is plenty of compression to start the bike and run it probably fine. But this bike could probably use a valve adjustment at some point. It does have 25,000 miles on it after all. Okay, I just followed this engine start-stop relay, and look at that. I don't know if that means anything, but I'm going to clean this up and put it back together. Alright, so now I have this stupid thing jumped. According to that, some sort of thing should pop up on the screen. Let's find out. Don't look like anything. What about if I crank it? Yeah. I don't know. Try jumping it. Alright, I believe I have figured out possibly what the issue is. I busted out the old multimeter and I set it to 20 volts. I take this pink wire right here and I plug this in. We're gonna keep this right here so you can see. And I'm going to take this negative and I'm just going to go right to the battery. There you go. See that? That's 11.5 volts. Alright, so I think my phone just filled up. But basically what I'm trying to say to you guys is that when I prod this pink wire, this one right here with the positive, and we're going to go ahead and set this to 20 volts. When I prod this with the positive, and I prod the negative on the battery, you see we're getting way too many volts. So if you go over here to the pink wire, if I unhook this right there, and then we try prodding it again, we're getting pretty much nothing. So that means we need 9 volts going to this wire. So let's go ahead, and my idea is to take this 9 volt battery, wire the positive up to this, this connection right here, and do the negative up to the negative terminal. And then I'm going to try it again, and in theory I should have 9 volts to that connection. And then I can try and see if I have spark. Okay, so I have the negative glued in there. I have the positive up in there. Admittedly, not the best way to do it, and I'm hoping I don't see any sparks, but I guess send it. So, I think I'm going to turn the key on, and I'm just going to touch the 9 volt, and I want to see 9 on that multimeter. Alright, we have, I don't know, we're just gonna, I think what we're gonna do is just plug it in and try it. Okay, so I decided to hook up the original ignition, which I don't really know why they took out anyway, but regardless, there it is hooked in. And when I turn the key on this one, if you listen carefully, check this out, ready? Yep, you see that? Okay, so major progress has been made. Now we have spark. I was so excited that I threw back on the airbox and called my friend over, and he sprayed starting fluid while I cranked the bike, and this is what happened. Look at that, guys, the bike started, I told you. Now, as tempted as I am to keep spraying started fluid, I'm satisfied just knowing that the bike fired up. This tells me that I can start investing a little bit more money into this bike. I want to end the episode here, but I heard your complaints from last episode, and I'll make this a little bit longer for you. When I bought the bike, it was missing the top of the airbox. Luckily, I found an awesome deal on eBay for $40. The seller didn't disclose whether or not there was an air filter in there, but judging by the K&N sticker on the airbox, I feel pretty confident that I might get lucky. And there it is, an air filter. I just cannot believe the score. The filter alone was worth $40. This filter is a K&N filter, which means that it can actually be cleaned and re-oiled many times. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean it and re-oil it. So here I am re-oiling the air filter. It came out great and looked brand new after I let it sit in the sun for a few hours. I wanted to install the airbox and air filter, but I have to order some stuff first. I placed an order for a new NGK spark plugs, a servo eliminator because my servo motor is broken, and a set of pair block-off plates. Along with that, another air intake duct because it was missing one. Oh, and of course the gas tank banjo bolt is on its way. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, but without the parts, this is as far as I can go at this time. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.
It's a sick news for your little arrows out. Let me live my life, the one I'd better lead. All the plans of fantasies, and we looked at them 11 ways. You said, look at me, I looked away, and you wrote the song I wanna play.